Yes. Yeah.
But like the comparison, like with me and some of the other guys.
So that'd be something neat to see, you know, the Harris Centers at
The Pirates playing in Williams.
Welcome back to the third period. Now, our lovely tournament that we had last year for the beard tournament throughout the leagues. Now we're changing up a little bit here. We're actually looking to do mustache, beard. What did we say, Jason? 70s, 80s, 90s?
70s,
Per
80s,
league?
90s facial hair tournament. It's a riff on the beard tournament. So first things first, obviously, if you've made it this far, you heard our previous ads, and we did one for Badass Beard Care. Badass Beard Care is going to be the official sponsor of our beard and facial hair tournaments. So this year's tournament's going to be the Badass Beard Care Classic Facial Hair Tournament, I guess we'll call it. It may not be called that by next week. We don't know.
That's the best part. Everything changes.
Everything changes. But we were talking about and just texting each other the other day about doing this because this opportunity arose. And if you can't really do classic beards because there were classic beards in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but the 90s was more of a goatee time, and the 80s and 70s were a heavy mustache time.
Yes, you definitely had either the handlebar mustache or some other weird mustaches. But
and I guess
it's definitely going to be interesting to see what we can find here and who we can find to represent Pacific leagues and everything else.
And I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about how tight last tournament was for some of those. Like Ryan Fitzpatrick was the winner, and he won it in a landslide. But leading up to that,
I was going to say, wasn't that the second round that it was him and Thornton?
The finals were him and Thornton.
Yeah, but what wasn't it like at a point to where it was tied, and then we had to redo it all?
Thornton and Ryan Ellis in the NHL round. They met in the first round of the NHL round.
All right, I got that confused then.
They tied, so we had to put them in two different other matchups. And then they ended up meeting in the finals of the NHL round, because I remember even saying to you, I don't know what we're going to do if they tie again. Thankfully, they didn't, and Joe Thornton won. But that was really super close. And we were both blown away by who didn't make it to the next rounds. Like, I got to be honest, I'm still annoyed that James Harden, now a 76er, James Harden did not make it past his first round match.
Yeah, I expected him to go past the first round. But dude, you have a way better memory than I do.
I also have the Facebook page pulled up for reference sake. So,
oh, well, that will do it. That will do it. But, I'm surprised James Harden didn't go past the first round, because I had him into the finals.
That was one of my picks. Still deeply upset by that.
It haunts you.
No, it doesn't haunt me. How can anyone look at that and think that's not a great beard?
You wake up in the middle of the night and cold sweats over it.
No, it's not that bad. But last year's tournament was a lot of fun, and like we had a lot of people commenting, voting,
a lot of interaction,
and that's at the end of the day, that's what makes this fun for us is getting people involved, getting people to not just listen to the show but interact with us. So that was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that we got a sponsor this year.
And I think it's going to be interesting to see what we can find with being 70s, 80s, and 90s sports teams. It's going to be interesting to see what we can find with those.
I mean, I can think of at least 3 baseball players off the top of my head.
The only one that comes to mind is Raleigh Fingers.
Raleigh Fingers, Mike Schmidt, Goose Gossage.
Okay, yep. Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see, like I said, who we can find and what's going to come out of it.
Lyle Lozado had a great beard.
I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name. He played for Calgary. Oh, now I'm drawing a blank here. With his mustache. Oh, no, Oh, I'm drawing a blank. Give me a second.
You're good.
That's debatable.
Dennis Eckersley had a tremendous beard, or not beard, mustache. Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm seeing it now. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling up the article. Just kind of riff here for a little bit while I try to find this, David. Is it Lanny McDonald?
Yep, I was just gonna say Lanny McDonald.
Walrus.
See, it just literally came up as soon as you said it on my screen. I knew it was McDonald. I just could not remember. I was just blanking on the first name.
Bill Flett of the Flyers. He had a very Teen Wolf looking beard.
So yeah, this is definitely going to be, I think, an interesting competition, just because of that old school look.
Ooh, here's something we didn't think about.
Oh,
because
this
we are including 70s players. Mutton chops.
Yes. Some of those are pretty wild.
Yeah. See, we got our work cut out for us on this. This is going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah. And we definitely need to hear comments on these, not just vote, but comment on what you think of the beards. That would be to hear some of the comments on what you think of the heavy mutton chop facial hair, the wild mustaches and beards of these eras. You guys got to let us know what your opinions are on them.
I'm almost thinking maybe we don't break it down into league. We just have random matchups.
Work in progress on that.
My concern is we're not going to find enough for one league. And we might have too much of another league. So maybe no leagues, just vote on who you think has the best one.
One big tournament.
Yeah.
One big tournament. See how many people we can find, make it an even number, and go from there.
Yeah, basically. God, I mean, I could see Raleigh Fingers running away with it. Because his mustache is so iconic.
Yeah, that it is. That it is.
This is going to go... Go ahead.
Part of me says I met him already. Down in New York. I remember
gone to a lot of signings, so I wouldn't be surprised if you have.
I think that was the time I actually got Dave Schultz's autograph on a puck.
Oh, really?
Yes, and he signed it Dave the Hammer Schultz.
That's awesome.
I'll take a picture of it and I'll put it up for any of you guys watching on YouTube. But yeah, and one of the autograph signings that I went to, they actually had a hammer in a casing that was signed by Dave the Hammer Schultz. Is how we had it in an actual hammer in the casing. But I've gone to a good amount of autograph signings for stuff like that.
It's a funny Dave the Hammer Schultz story. In Mick Foley's first book, Have a Nice Day, he tells a story of, and it was on a pay-per-view. Him and a wrestler known as Max Payne had a street fight match with the tag team, the Nasty Boys. And because it was taking place in Philly, Dave the Hammer Schultz was the guest referee. And there came a point in the match where he was going to hit Foley. And he said to Mick, he's like, I don't know if I can do what you do with the hits. And Mick goes, just hit me for real. Because, you don't have to be a diehard wrestling fan to know how Mick Foley's a good guy and Mick Foley's a tough guy. Not like badass tough, but he's a tough guy.
Yeah.
And in the book, he says, as soon as the Hammer pulled my shirt over, because Mick always wore like a sleeveless shirt when he wrestled. As soon as he pulled the shirt over me, he's like, it was like he was back in the 70s and he's just hitting me with uppercuts and forearms like there's no tomorrow. And he's like, and I suddenly regretted telling him just to give me what he had.
I mean, when you're part of the era of known as the Broad Street Bullies, that's kind of an indication where you don't want that to happen.
No, but I get what Mick was doing.
I just brought up a picture of Schultz, and he could be in this competition with his with his mustache.
Yeah.
She has one. Yeah, so he could be one in here.
He looks a little Ned Braden-ish, though.
Yeah, all I know is when I saw his Stanley Cup rings, I was actually I was drooling a little bit. I'll admit it.
And for those of you not aware, Ned Braden is a character in the movie Slapshot.
Oh, what a movie!
Well, it's funny. So the group of people I went to Bojangles with today, in that podcast Facebook group, the other co-host Jeff had a post yesterday about Slapshot quotes. What are your favorite Slapshot quotes? And
I think last quotes we can't say on air.
And I think last I looked, it was at like 75 comments. And the best, it's a classic when one person puts a quote and like the next 7 responses to it are the rest of the scene.
Yeah. Didn't you post on Facebook one time the Slapshot movie poster?
Yes.
And all of a sudden it just blew up with all of us.
Your brother was a big contributor. I'll say that. Matt was a big contributor.
And we all just started throwing these quotes in. It just like blew up to almost the same thing. But a lot of those quotes we cannot say here.
I mean, it's pretty off the rails since, Badass Beard Care is our sponsor, which if you look at their stuff, it is a donkey. The donkey is their logo, but the donkey is tailored to every different version of the scent. So like the mountain man scent has a donkey that looks like Davy Crockett.
Nice. Waiting for my screen to come up now on it. Because, computers, technology.
I understand that completely.
This time of night.
Oh yeah.
Stop doing that.
I've been up since, I think, 5. Is there even a quote we could have from this movie that we could even say?
No, because I just went through like 5 or 6 of them through my head, and all of them were not ones I could say on this.
Oh, putting on the foil.
Okay,
Dave's a killer. Dave's a mess.
Dave's a killer. He's a mess.
I'm not going to lie. One of my all-time favorite quotes in the movie, and it's such an undercover line. It's Upton's wife, Shirley, when she goes, Johnny always says you can screw so much and drink so much.
Oh, that makes me just want to watch the movie now.
That line gets me every time. And I don't think there's a lot of people who can appreciate how great that line is in that scene, but it kills me every time.
Oh, that is a great movie. Like I said, it's just one of those things now I just want to watch it again. Yeah, I have it somewhere around here.
So, I mean, since we're talking about Slapshot, I'll ask you this question. Is there a player in the movie who reminds you of your brother?
Yes, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now.
Is it Morris?
Now I got to look this up. Because I know as soon as I see his face, and if I describe the scene that I can actually
I'm sending you one of Morris's quotes.
During the fashion show. Do you know what scene I'm talking about?
That's what are you talking about Johnny Upton when he talks about taking his robe off and
Yes.
Oh, see, I think of Morris when I think of your brother.
I was thinking, because I know Matt would probably do that.
Yeah, but Matt would do it without threatening. There's a difference.
Yeah, that is true.
He wouldn't threaten the owner with doing that. He would just do it.
Look at some of these, just bringing up the cast now and just look at all these pictures of, like, wow.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Ogie Oglethorpe.
That could be another tournament we do, is greatest sports movie.
That could get interesting.
You know what? As much as I love Major League and I love A League of Their Own, I don't think any sports movie can top Slapshot.
That's kind of hard to. Well, Caddyshack would be close, but now I see where you're saying with Morris. Now I can picture it. Now I can since I see his picture now. Yes, I can see that. Yes. I'm
so sorry. You know what? Your brother would take that as a compliment. Why am I apologizing?
He would. But yeah, looking at their looking at the Badass Beard Care site, yeah, they definitely have a lot of things on here.
I've gotten their product. It's good stuff. It really is, and you can't go wrong with it. And you know, not to do another in-episode ad for them, but I mean, they are sponsoring the facial hair tournament, so it is what it is.
Yeah, we got to come up. We're going to be saying a beard tournament, even though it's a facial hair tournament.
I know, but it's good stuff, and that free sample kit is really awesome because that's how I got into them a few years ago. Was just pay shipping and handling, and we'll send you these things to try. Sure, and you know me, I'm a music nerd. The thing that they give you to put the beard balm on to scoop it out is a pick. It's a Badass Beard Care pick that you can just scoop out the beard balm to work in your beard.
Yeah, I'm looking at the scent here: pine and cedar, sandalwood, bourbon, and vanilla. So, which ones do you have?
I have the original, and I have the Mountain Man.
That's something I got to look into. See what I might have to do that tomorrow.
Yeah, so in the sample, it comes a trial size oil, trial size balm, a beard wash, a beard balm pick, and a sticker. And the trial pack lasts 3 to 5 uses, depending on the length of your beard.
Yeah, mine a lot of times have a problem because I try to trim it up, and sometimes I get a little too close in spots, or just switch, and I have to hit the reset button.
It happens. I've been there, but they make a good product. And
I can't remember the last time I seen you without a beard.
I didn't have one during the early days of COVID because I got too close trimming it, and I just had a goatee for a bit.
Yeah, that's always my problem. I get too close, and it's just like, well, I might as well just hit the reset button at this point.
But I've consistently have had a beard since I started growing it right after my wedding. So since 2009.
That's my point. You know, yeah, definitely you have to pick some things here.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I think with this, the facial tournament is definitely going to be interesting. Thank you. So yeah, I had to mute that one quick.
Yeah, you guys didn't hear it, but David sneezed, and I'm polite, so that's why I'm blessing him right now.
Are you my priest?
Yes.
But yeah, I think they're. Oh, jeez, here we go.
It's falling apart.
We're off the rails. No, I think definitely we can get a lot of. I think there's going to be a lot of pictures we can find.
I think there's going to be a lot of players to talk about. I just going old school, which I think is a great idea. I just don't think we're going to find a lot of beards.
No, I think you're right that we're going to find more of mustache styles.
Lots of mustachioed people.
Like you said, the mutton chops, the handlebar mustaches, the ones like Raleigh Fingers, or, you know, the only thing I think we'll find of beards could be late 90s. Mid to late 90s, we could probably find a good couple of beards.
I think the 90s, we're going to get a lot of goatees. I actually think the NFL is going to be where we find the most beards.
That's going to be a toss-up because, you know, with hockey and playoffs, that always come around with the playoff beard.
Yeah, but when did that really become a thing? That's the interesting question then.
Well, it looks like we got our research ahead of us on this one.
Hey, we got 2 weeks, so.
Right? I know what I'll be doing soon.
There you go. You're going to grow your beard out for the tournament?
Try to, if I don't screw it up.
There you go.
Don't screw it up. Now, I'm not going to grow it like Matt's, where it's, I don't know, I think he's down to, or up to 2 feet long on his beard.
Oh, Brad from Baseball Together has a pretty long one, too. His beard's pretty Viking-esque. I don't have the patience. I keep, as I call it, a yacht rock beard. It's very Michael McDonald-ish or Kenny Loggins-ish. I don't have a metal beard because I'm impatient.
Yeah, Matt has definitely one, I think is about 2+ feet long at this point.
Well, I mean, he keeps it also because so then he has a snack for later on when it catches in there. I mean, he said that himself at the Senators game. I'm just repeating what he said.
I think Matt's getting roasted on this one.
But I'm not saying anything he hasn't already said.
Oh, no, that's true.
And I've heard him quote Morris verbatim in person. So
Yeah, that is true.
actually, in that thread on my Facebook page, he was quoting Morris.
That's funny.
Yeah, but you know what? He wouldn't want us to say he's a good guy. Like that's the problem. Your brother is a good guy, but he wouldn't want us to say that. So,
Oh man, but yeah, definitely, we definitely should be able to find. Now, are we looking to keep this a specific number?
I mean,
Like,
it's
how
got to
many
be
we
even.
find?
It's got to
Yeah.
be even.
What are we looking at? 10 plus? Because I think we did 6 per league of the beer tournament.
Oh, it's got to be at least a little bit more than that, just for the sake of numbers.
Maybe 20.
Let me draft a bracket. Let me do some brackets, some blank brackets, and see what'll be the best.
Because I'm thinking it would almost be like 14 to 20 is what you, because 10, because we had, I think we had 6 per league, and that gave us what, 24 total? Like, through all the beards and that.
Sure, let's go with that.
So, and being that we're not doing it as specific leagues now, we're doing it as one big collective.
I just want to. I'm going to make a bracket and see what works the best, so that we don't run into a situation where if there's a tie, we don't know what to do.
Well, that's something we can always look at too. Just kind of, well, we have 2 weeks to look at that too. We can always kind of veer here and there, like, okay, what if, or just maybe one of us have a tiebreaker. Just kind of pick a tiebreaker on who got the first vote, or if we can see who had the first vote.
Yeah. I mean, we'll figure it out. We got 2 weeks. So the next episode's third period will be when we launch this first official matchup, or first official matchups, I guess, because we typically did 2 or 3 a week.
I think so. I think we had. I want to say the first sport we did, we had a few going. Like me, I think it was like every other.
It was every other day.
I think
we did a sport in between. So it was MLB, and then that episode wrapped up MLB, and then we did NHL, and then the episode after that wrapped up.
Yeah,
NHL,
so
and went to
I think
NBA.
it was a 2-week span is when we had that. At the end of that 2 weeks, that we announced the winner of this round.
Yeah,
this is going to be interesting.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna have to break this down, because doing, let's just say 20 in 1 week. That's going to be a lot.
I think maybe
that's almost like a full episode.
If we do every other day, like we were doing, I think that'll be fine.
But even discussing it in an episode, doing 20.
No, that's not feasible. We have to break it down to so many an episode.
So what we can do is let's kind of break it down. Break it down in divisions, like how north, south, east, west. Maybe do it by era. Like if we can find, X amount in 70s, 80s, 90s. So something like that. Just a thought.
Bear with me here. Nope. See, so I think if we do 32, which that's a lot, but if we do 32, that doesn't have any buys. There's no buys, which clutter things up. If we do 28, there's buys. So I think 28 to 32 is probably where we want it. 24, it led to some weird matchups based on the voting.
So this is going to be interesting on how to break this down per every 2 weeks.
Let me try this again at 20. So
I think 20.
So 28, what would happen is there would be 6 first round matches on each. So there'd be 3 first round matches for each episode, and then there'd be 4 second round matches, because there's a bye for each division. Basically, if we split up into 4 divisions, there's going to be a bye into the second round of each division in the second round, and then quarterfinals, semifinals, finals.
Like I said, we got some time to figure this out.
Yeah. But we have something to go from, and I think this will be. I mean, last year's was a lot of fun. I'm hoping this year's is just as much fun, if not more fun, because I think with going with 70s, 80s, and 90s athletes, I mean, you're hitting our core demographic that listens to us age wise, so it's going to be. I feel like this could get more heated.
It could get interesting. This could get very interesting. Yeah, this could get very interesting on this. Definitely going to get fun. But yeah, go to the Badass Beard Care. We can put up on we can put it in the description.
Yeah.
For the free samples, we can put it on the YouTube description page. And yeah, go visit them, see what they have. They definitely have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they got beard washes, beard balms, beard oils. You name it for facial hair, they probably have it.
They have bundles.
I've
butters,
said it before. I've used their product.
balms,
It's a great product.
Conditioners. They definitely have a lot of stuff, that's for sure. So on that note, that'd be the end of the third period. A little loud.
Just a bit, yeah. So you can find me every Wednesday with Brad from Baseball Together on the Punk Podcast. Every Wednesday we go over the artist, album, songs from the world of pop punk music. This past week we did Unwritten Law's 2002 album Elva. Really great album. I even mentioned in the episode that it reminded me of hanging out with you in your car driving around. It was just that kind of album.
That's scary.
So you can find that wherever you get your podcasts, and it's also on YouTube. Please check us out. It's just something we love. We love the genre of music, and we love talking about it. And there's always stories being told on that show. Our friend Matt is back with the A Show. Season 3 just started this past week. They had Andy Header from Diamond City Sports. So Diamond City Sports, I don't know if you know this, they run a wiffle ball league in the Scranton Wilkes-Barre area. They have their own field. They got a Pepsi grant from Pepsi to create the field into an official wiffle ball field. They also are partnered with the NFL for a children's flag football league. And they were just recently on the news up in the Scranton Wilkes-Barre area. So they do a lot of really good things. So Matt and Chris Decker, his co-host, and Andy Peck from Diamond City Sports, they were drafting 2001 WCW had it been purchased by Eric Bischoff instead of WWE. It was a really fun episode to listen to. And if you're listening to this and you want to check it out, my opinion was Matt had the best card. He's not paying me to say this. I'll take Chris New Bills, Matt. Anyway, check out the A Show on CKCC Radio and wherever else you get your podcasts. And if you're listening to the show, there will be an ad for CKCC. Before this, you've already heard it. Good stuff on there. Thank you for joining us for episode 40 of the Not Another Sports Podcast. You can find us online. We have a link tree in the description of every episode. You can go to our website, our Anchor affiliation site, our Facebook page, our Twitter, our Instagram, our TikTok. Did I miss anything there? Our Teespring store, naspod.creator-spring, takes you to our store where you can get your t-shirts, your long sleeve shirts, and your hoodies and your face masks, even though those are starting to go away.
We still have them.
We still have them. We got your needs met here. Get your official Not Another Sports Podcast merchandise. I'm trying to think here. I'm blanking because it's been a fun episode. Don't forget to check out Fans Idea. Use that NASPOD NASPOD at checkout for 10% off. We've already mentioned check out badassbeardcare.com/free sample to get your free sample from Badass Beard Care, as they are supporting us and we support them. You can find the Not Another Sports Podcast available for streaming or download at Anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, wherever else you get your podcasts. Find us on the YouTube page. If you want to actually look at our ugly mugs, please go ahead and do that. Those episodes come up in between the recording of this episode and the recording of the next episode. So you get 2 weeks to watch us if you want to watch us. Anything else I'm not remembering, David?
No, I think you covered it all there.
All right. So with that, thank you again for joining us. 40 episodes. That's crazy. My name's Jason.
I'm David.
We'll talk with you next time.
Have a good one.